Welcome to another one of Microsoft's webinars. We have a great topic for you today. We're going to go over effective project portfolio management, PPM, with Microsoft Project Online. My name is Michael Tronto, and I'm a strategic account specialist at Microsoft. I'm also joined on today's webcast with Doug Welsby, a senior account executive and PPM specialist. The line will not be open for questions, but feel free to use the chat feature. Anything we don't get to will be responded to via email, and we'll be including our contact information at the end of the webinar. If for any reason you get distracted or pulled away, no need to worry. I will be emailing the recording and the slide deck of today's presentation. I'll now hand it off to Doug Welsby. Doug?
Hey, great. Thanks for your introduction, Mike, and welcome to the webinar, everyone. Again, my name is Doug Welsby. I'm an account exec and product manager for Microsoft. I'm based in Ottawa, Canada. So we'll be telling you more about Microsoft and our offerings later in the presentation. But during today's webinar, we'll be discussing effective PPM or project and portfolio management with Microsoft Project Online. Today's webinar will start with an overview of what exactly is Microsoft Project Online and how this solution can provide significant value and improvements to organizational and project performance. We'll dig into the specifics of PPM, such as portfolio optimization, resource and financial management, agile project management, work and time management, and project and work intelligence, commonly referred to as business intelligence, but in this seminar with a focus around project activities and work activities. We'll then be transitioning to a demonstration of Project Online's end-to-end capabilities and how it can deliver effective project and portfolio management solutions for your organization. With that, let's get into our discussion of effective PPM with Microsoft Project Online. So let's start with an overview of project and portfolio management. So what exactly is the definition of portfolio management? Well, PPM is clearly defined as the practice of identifying, selecting, and managing a portfolio of projects that align to strategic objectives and honor budget and resource constraints. So this means end-to-end lifecycle management of projects from their inception as an idea or proposal right through to the successful delivery of the project's stated outcomes and deliverables. It's the capture of the anticipated costs and return on investment in a business case and the subsequent prioritization and selection of a portfolio of projects to be delivered. Finally, the delivery of the projects with clear visibility and communication throughout the delivery process. So PPM has always been important. This is not a new concept, but it's become increasingly important to have effective PPM processes in order to remain competitive in this rapidly changing world. And let's face it, the world is changing. Some of you may suggest that the today image of these New York yellow cabs should include Uber vehicles and before long, self-driving Uber vehicles. In the past, we were used to long product cycles, but today we have rapid innovation. It's prevalent everywhere, but in particular in the software industry, with software delivered via the cloud. Microsoft previously released new versions of software on a 3-year development cycle, but now with software as a service, new features are released with an ongoing and rapid cadence. Email is rapidly being replaced with collaboration tools such as Facebook Interpersonal Lives, Yammer at Work, and other collaboration tools just like Facebook and Yammer. Most of us spend time commuting to and from working in an office, but many of us now avoid that commute and work from a home office. The world is changing. And finally, the volume of information available to us has exploded, in particular, as we deliver projects, programs, and portfolios. We now have data and insights into all aspects of projects and are able to make better decisions based on this big data available to us. So not only is our world changing, but change is now the new normal. With all the challenges that we discussed, there's one constant that affects all of them, and that's change. We all know that technology has played a critical role in how businesses are run today. as we have essentially all become technology companies, no matter what industry you're in. We come from a past where technology progression was slow. We had time to think about our plans, make adjustments in the rare case that priorities shifted, and move forward with minimal impact. Today, we're faced with continuous change, unpredictability, and rapidly changing environments. We have to be agile and react quickly to these shifts, or we'll simply get left behind. Constant change has become the new normal, but it has become one of the biggest challenges for PMOs. But constant change is now the new normal. The new normal in business is disruption and change. Companies and leaders have to constantly adapt and reinvent themselves. Success now requires not just doing it better, but mastering the ability to do it differently and to react quickly in this dynamic and unpredictable new world. So responding to this new normal of change and these changes in the marketplace requires smart innovation. We need to have the ability to innovate and innovate quickly. We need to have alignment to our organizational objectives, and we need to be able to execute correctly and quickly. Innovation is crucial to the continuing success of any organization, and yet a large percentage of companies don't have an innovation strategy, meaning a process through which ideas can be gathered in a systematic way. Organizations that do have a strategy in place and are highly innovative achieve higher growth over a 5-year period. Alignment. However, innovation and idea capture is just the start, after which we need to move to developing the business case for these proposals, which is where the concept of alignment comes to the forefront. For most organizations, projects are only worth approving if they align with corporate or strategic goals, and yet 68% of organizations don't do this. So what's the benefit of being highly aligned? 17% higher growth rate over a 5-year period. And following approval, we move on to execution. And this is where a large number of projects fail in one way or another due to poor communication. While organizations that have effective ways in which to increase communication and collaboration see a 17% increase in projects being completed on budget. If we look at the state of PPM, there have been a number of studies related to this. Without a doubt, project management could use some help. $5 billion in failed projects in the US every year. 68% of them challenged or failing. 82% suffering from schedule overruns, and another 43% suffering from cost overruns. So improvements with a PPM solution in place, documented in studies by Pricewaterhouse, Gartner, and other analyst groups, include a 37% better strategic alignment, a 22% improvement in time to market, 32% better schedule performance, and if you think about the size of your organization's IT budget, a 2 to 5% savings is significant. These smart innovation objectives can be met with the adoption of appropriate PPM tools and processes. Note that I said processes and tools. It's not just a tool. You can't hand someone a wrench and expect them to become a mechanic without proper training, guidance, and processes to follow. So don't expect a PPM tool such as Project Online to address your smart innovation and PPM objectives without training and a carefully developed process put in place. And these organizational pains also trickle down to the individual project managers. Think about the things that all of us as project managers suffer from. A survey from the Center for Business Practices identified inconsistent approaches, challenges with resource management, strategic alignment, and project visibility, all as pain points for project managers. Without a clearly defined set of processes in place, project managers will struggle with successful delivery. Or with disparate systems, one for scheduling, another for resource management, another for financial tracking. We all see this, they're all disjointed, and the task becomes overwhelming and frustrating. On top of that, with this response to change, is the advent of Agile approaches. A need to remain competitive and the need to focus closely on what the consumer is demanding has driven an increased adoption of Agile project management approaches. This means project delivery in a more iterative manner, being more responsive to changes, being agile or nimble and not as process focused and static in our approaches to project management. The 2018 version 1 12th annual State of Agile report found that Agile is indeed on the rise, with 97% of organizations practicing Agile to some extent. This has grown from just 80% in 2011 to close to 100% of organizations surveyed in 2018. So why would you adopt Agile? Well, version 1 in the report listed many reasons, including accelerated software delivery, an enhanced ability to manage changing priorities, increased productivity, improved project visibility, reduced project risk, and several others. So if we think about Microsoft Project Online, it's a solution developed and designed to help you deliver on business strategies through high impact outcomes. You can think of PPM with a simplified life cycle comprised of 3 phases. We'll call them ideate, plan, and execute. So ideate is the initiation phase in which ideas are collected, projects are proposed. The organization's business drivers help to capture the company's strategy and guide ideation. Effectively, why would you deliver this project? Respond to that during the ideation phase. The plan phase is the phase which includes preliminary planning of the projects at a very high level. Microsoft PPM helps to prioritize the project subject to budget and resourcing constraints. And then once projects are approved, the solution supports detailed and realistic planning. Finally, execution. And the goal of this phase is to deliver the projects through collaboration of the involved stakeholders. So built on Microsoft's cloud, Project Online weaves in cloud services that power the PPM solution with collaboration capabilities, advanced analytics that drive insights, and the ability to customize and extend the solution to meet unique needs of your organization. Microsoft PPM is built on Microsoft's cloud infrastructure, meaning you get enterprise-grade security and compliance, highly secure and geographically diverse data centers, and a 99.9% uptime guarantee. If we look at Microsoft's offering of Project Online in the cloud, it's designed to be an end-to-end project and portfolio management solution to serve the needs of the PMO and the enterprise. That means from early on, from ideation all the way through demand management, portfolio selection and optimization, all the things you would do to execute your projects, and then all the reporting and analytics you would need throughout. This is really designed to be a comprehensive solution that meets all of these requirements when you're ready. In the cloud, Microsoft is providing this as a service where they take care of all of the infrastructure, redundant data centers with all of the failover and reliability that you're looking for, as well as service level agreements that guarantee more than 99.9% uptime with actuals that are actually much higher than that. Also, from a compliance perspective, all of the certifications and the auditing that needs to be done are there for these data centers so that the needs of any industry that's out there are met. And the other thing available here, of course, is the context of Office 365 that many people are moving to for their business productivity tools. Project Online becomes part of your Office 365 experience, and you get to use the tools in Office 365 for collaboration and business productivity within the context of your project and portfolio management process. So once again, having that unified experience without separate, disparate, disconnected tools is something that's very valuable and part of this entire Office 365 and PPM platform. So top benefits of Project Online are largely based on the fact that it's part of the Office 365 cloud solution. You're on familiar ground, meaning that it's based on SharePoint, because it's using Office 365, and because it's using Microsoft Project at its very core. There's a familiarity for users, and the ramp up in getting users to adopt the solution is much shorter and easier. It also provides you the opportunity to have a single governance model, meaning your intake, your requests, your ideas that are often the lifeblood of what's going into an innovative company that delivers products. The idea of having a single funnel where new ideas can go through a vetting process to be optimized is something that's a powerful capability. It's also familiar ground. So if people in the past are used to working with things like Microsoft Project, and SharePoint, and all of the other Microsoft productivity tools, and this will just simply be an incremental learn, and not like learning an entirely new platform. This means ramping up, and adopting is going to be much quicker using Project Online than it would be with some other third-party technology. You'll have minimal upfront costs since you're not making a capital investment in large software purchases or hardware and infrastructure, as it's really a pay-as-you-go subscription service. And you can scale as you mature. So instead of sizing a server farm for how big you think the solution might get, it will scale automatically in the Microsoft Cloud as you demand more resources and computing power and storage as and when it's needed. As well, you can scale from a capabilities and functional perspective. You can use its most simple capabilities and mature into the more advanced functionalities like portfolio analysis and optimization, being able to do various types of analysis if and when the organization's processes are mature enough to take advantage of these. There's value in strong reporting. If you look at how Office 365 includes Power BI in the mix, as there's a native feed from Project Online to Power BI, such that reporting becomes a natural output of your process. Instead of spending hours and hours manually mashing up data and providing manually generated reports, Power BI automates this and puts reporting capabilities into the hands of the consumers of the information. Another reason to use Project Online is that it's built on Microsoft Project at its core. And since the first version of Microsoft Project in 1984, Microsoft PPM has become a leader in project and portfolio management. Analysts and customers both agree. Independent analysts like IDC and Gartner have long listed Microsoft PPM among the best and most powerful PPM solutions. And customers around the world, more than 15,000 of them, in fact, rely on Microsoft PPM for managing various project and portfolio types across industries such as oil and gas, automotive, professional services, airlines, financial, etc. Prior to the cloud, Microsoft released new versions of Microsoft PPM every 3 years. These releases were the only time customers received new capabilities. But since then, Microsoft PPM became a software as a services offering. Microsoft has accelerated this timeline to give you innovative features on a much more rapid schedule, aligning to the release schedule of other Microsoft solutions. The slide shows just a few examples of the capabilities that Microsoft has shipped, with many more in the pipeline as they continuously innovate around project and portfolio management in the cloud. So we're about to transition to a demo, and we're going to walk through several different areas of the solution, including portfolio management, where we'll talk about idea capture and requesting of new projects, how we go through a portfolio analysis and alignment of these requests for strategizing, aligning one request up against another and determining which ones we can deliver on based on cost and resource constraints. We'll look at capacity planning and resource constraint impacts on these portfolios of projects. We'll look at schedule management, of course, core to the solution, the Microsoft Project Desktop tool, and how we can manage schedules within Project and publish those to Project Online for greater visibility and impact analysis. And of course, we'll look at schedule management within the web interface for Project Online, known as PWA or Project Web Access. We'll also take a look at some of the new Microsoft Project Agile features, where we can do portfolio and program management within Project Online and do waterfall scheduling and Agile planning, both within this same tool, without having to extend the solution out and work within another tool for Agile project delivery. This new Agile project management feature within Project Desktop features Kanban boards, task planning boards, a sprint approach, etc. We'll take a look at how that works within the tool. Resource management, of course, is key for most organizations. So in the demo, we'll take a look at what's known as the Resource Center, where we can understand the impact of resource demand from various projects across an entire portfolio, their availability. We can do capacity planning and even request resources with a workflow integrated right within the solution, so that when a project manager needs either a generic resource or a named resource, they can submit a request for that and workflow that request through the tool to help find the right person to assist. We do task and time management within the tool. So whether you're just looking to status your project tasks or to submit a comprehensive timesheet, Project Online provides those capabilities. And as I mentioned earlier, project intelligence, call it business intelligence or project intelligence, same thing, effectively delivered with a centralized reporting capability within Project Online using Power BI as that reporting interface. So with that, let's transition to a demonstration of some of these concepts using the technology and the solutions that we've alluded to so far here in the presentation. So the first thing I'll demonstrate here is what we'll call the PMO Digital Workplace. Effectively, this is a landing page, if you would, that an organization could use for a starting point for your project managers, for your resource managers, for team members, anyone who's participating in, interested in, wants to report on, etc., the status of projects, the status of programs or portfolios and resources that are working on them. So this is a mock-up of a potential digital workplace that we've designed for this demonstration environment. Yours might look or feel a little different. It's easy to adjust this so that we can focus in on, for example, within these PMO digital workplaces, activities that are important to the individual users. So new requests, new projects that are coming in, focus in on resources or dashboarding, or even take advantage of some of the other Office 365 tools, such as Yammer here for collaboration amongst different team members as they discuss activities, post new reports, submit requests, etc., all within this digital workplace environment. Microsoft also recently introduced, as part of their Office 365 platform and some of these software as a service, rapid to market types of approaches for Project Online, a new Project Home board. So each one of these is individually configurable for the resources that are using it. So Daniel Williams is logged in this case, and what he's done is he's focused on these 4 projects. So he's named them as his favorites. You'll see some of the other recent projects that he's been working on, but these favorites make it easy for Daniel to get through and look at all of the different projects that are important to him. And if he wished, he could very quickly just go through to the project web app and focus in on the projects themselves, all of the other projects, and access to different application functionality in that main project web app interface. But this home page, this landing page, makes things significantly simpler in terms of allowing you to put the focus on your favorite projects, easily navigate through to them, and very soon Microsoft will also make available within this interface the ability to place Visual Studio or Azure DevOps projects as well. So if you're managing agile development projects with another tool like that, you'll be able to place them within this homepage environment and easily get access to them. Again, customizable user by user. So all of this is being delivered within the confines of Office 365. You'll notice in the top left, I'm in Office 365. I've got Microsoft Project loaded up in here, so the Project Online application has been added to this O365 environment. And of course, I have access to all of the other Office 365 applications as well. So if you're using the plain old Office suite themselves, PowerPoint, Word, and Outlook, available from this app launcher interface in the top left of your navigation screen. If you're using Microsoft Teams or Skype for Business or OneDrive, you can get to it. And of course, other features of other Office 365 applications are available here as well, including Flow for workflows and Power BI for reporting within the tool set. So everything's right at your fingertips, all deployed within this Office 365 cloud solution. And of course, Project Online is part of that as well. So the main project web app interface can look like this. And I say can look like this because it's easy to get a customized configuration deployed with a branded look and feel for your organization, key focus areas within the solution loaded onto this home page, so that if you want to place a focus on timesheeting or reporting, or for example, if you wanted to provide easy access to, as I'm showing here, an e-academy for training for individuals that are focused on projects, reporting, or team members who need to learn how to use the tool, that can be easily placed on this interface. So there's a security model built into Project Online so that users, as they log in, are assigned a role. And it might be a project manager, a team member, maybe a resource manager, or as in this case, I'm logged in as someone who's playing the role of an administrator within the solution, meaning I have access to all of the different application functionality and all of the different projects that are available within the tool as well. A team member would have access to only a limited number of these projects to which he or she was assigned. Maybe somebody who's a executive within the organization would also have access to all of the different projects. So easy to configure who gets to see what, to restrict prying eyes from seeing projects that they shouldn't see, and to expose information in a variety of different ways. So of course, we're talking about projects. So let's go and look at the main Project Center interface within this solution. So this Project Center is where we get to see a list of projects that have been published to Project Online and made visible, again, based on the security model, with a selected bit of information exposed about each of those in various views. So in this case, we have a listing of projects together with their state, whether they're requested or approved or in progress. And then we're showing in this KPI type view some health indicators about the overall health, schedule health, work health, etc. We're returning things from green to yellow to red, depending on certain tolerances, if we have an automated indicator, or maybe a manual setting from the project manager themselves about the overall health of the project and a status and how they feel about this, this particular state and delivery of that project. So there's multiple views available within these centers as well. Project Online ships with approximately a half a dozen different views, including a summary view, a cost view, earned value, etc. So it's easy to switch between those views. This project cost view is maybe only available to financial managers and executives. It typically would not be available to team members, for example, who might not have a requirement to see cost information. You can very easily flip these views if they're available to you, or hide them from people that should not see them. We can go through and categorize and classify our projects by perhaps department or manager or the portfolio to which they're being, or for which they're being delivered. So we've got a portfolio here called Create Competitive Advantages, and within that portfolio we have 4 different projects all underway, all being delivered perhaps by a single portfolio manager or for that specific portfolio of work. So many different views of projects, different ways to consume and surface information. And if I click through and look at any one of these individual projects, I'll open up the social networking integration project. And when I open up the main page for this particular plan, we see the workflow status. So there's a workflow engine built right within Project Online. And in this case, this particular project's in an initiating phase. There's several other workflow stages yet to arrive for this project. And so we've built out in this demonstration environment a sample workflow containing initiating, planning, executing, and other phases of work, complete with a summary of where we stand within this particular project and what the status of the workflow is. So it's easy to do that configuration to add additional workflows to reflect your organizational needs. And if you don't have a workflow in place, if you just want to manually transition projects from, an initiation to an executing phase, we can do that as well, just by categorizing information about those projects. You don't need that workflow engine, but it's there when you're ready and if you wish to take advantage of it. So any of these projects that are underway, we might want to collect some summary information or some detailed information about those projects as we build out a business case and want to document information about the delivery. So in this case, we've got a name and a description for this particular project. We're capturing general information such as who's the owner, what program this is part of, and then further down on that screen, you'll see a variety of other information about work, status, financial information, etc. So all of this is configurable within the tool. You get to make decisions as you deploy the tool as to what type of information you want to gather, how many different screens of information you might need, all of the details that are important for the proper and efficient delivery of these projects can be gathered and stored in Project Online so that you've got effectively one point of access to review and examine all of these details. If you're doing strategic analysis, meaning portfolio analysis to determine which of your projects should be delivered as opposed to not delivered because they don't have an impact for your organization, value-based assessment effectively, this out-of-the-box capability is available with Project Online to do what's called a strategic project impact analysis. So with some sample questions, here we're examining the impact of this project on some fictional or demonstration objectives, expanding into new markets, improving customer satisfaction, improving employee satisfaction. We're being asked to rate or rank the impact of this project on those different objectives. And all of this information in these strategic impact screens, again, optionally and when you're ready, can be used to help to prioritize your projects one over another as you gather these details about the impact on business drivers, or maybe other information such as a risk analysis or a return on investment analysis. All of that's available and can be delivered with Project Online out of the box. And then finally, let's just look at the core schedule for this project. So you might have started this project from a template, or a project manager might have built out this work breakdown structure for the delivery of this project. But as I mentioned earlier, you can view the details of a project schedule right within the project web app interface, open this up for editing and make changes to it directly within this web interface. No need to use the project desktop tool. The full scheduling capabilities, or pretty much all of the comprehensive desktop capabilities, are available here within this web view. So we see a full work breakdown structure. And just like on the main project center, we have the other views available to us here, including information about assignments, about resources, about tasks, their costs, detailed earned value, etc. So a comprehensive environment here for managing and delivering on that project. So as I mentioned earlier, we can manage the schedule not only within Project Web App, but if I switch and transition to the Project Desktop tool, you'll see here I have that same Microsoft project plan for that social networking integration project open within the desktop tool. Very similar views of the timeline for this particular project, where we place the main phases and their dates on that timeline, color-coded them. We see that in the web browser view as well. And then, of course, this is your familiar Microsoft Project Desktop tool for managing that schedule. If we open it here and make changes, at this point in time, when you're working between Project Desktop and Project Online, we open that schedule from the cloud server from Project Online, make changes to it within the desktop tool if you wish, and then file, save, and or publish the progress and make that visible within the Project Online environment. So you can still work within this desktop tool. It still plays part of that overall scheduling activity. And of course, we have visibility of those project plans directly within the web views as well. I mentioned also that we can do agile project management. So here's my social networking integration project. I might have an agile project underway. So in this case, we're using different terminology from a waterfall type project where we're thinking about sprints or task boards. So if I flip my view around here and say that I want to look at a task board for this particular project, instead of a waterfall type view, here we're seeing a backlog, what's up next, in progress, almost complete and done, etc. And it's easy to manage the schedule and to update activities just simply by dragging and dropping various task board tasks from one column to another. What's happening as we move those tasks between these different columns, I've identified this particular project as having 5 different phases of activities. And when I'm focused on next up, I've identified that this means it's 5% complete, or in progress is 50%, almost complete means 90. So just the act of dragging and dropping something between columns is going to update the percent complete and the status on those tasks for me. And of course, there's full reporting capability available within the solution as well. So board status, sprint status, etc., offering agile capabilities within Project Desktop. And then of course, these projects can be stored in our Project Online environment. We have full visibility into the status of them and their agile activities for the organization, again, through Project Online. So back to Project Online, if we go back to that Project Center and look at the various projects that are underway, another aspect of project management is communication and collaboration amongst members of those project teams. So if we're looking at a specific project, let's think about, for example, this VoIP phone project that's being delivered right now. If I open up that project, I might want to access other information above and beyond just the project schedule. So I'm going to open up the project site for this project. And you'll see here that with Project Online, we base this on another familiar Office 365 application, and that's Microsoft SharePoint. So here's our VoIP project plan. We have a schedule in play. We have resources assigned to tasks, but of course, we're interested in other aspects of communication and other information that's relevant and critical to the delivery of this project. That might be documents that we're tracking, that might mean risks and issues that are important for the delivery, and other elements such as objectives, stakeholders, financial requirements for this project, etc. So Project Online comes with an out-of-the-box risk management capability. In this case, we see we've identified a couple of different risks. We've been tracking issues for this VoIP phone project as well. And I can click through to any one of those issues or risks, view the status of it, who it's assigned to, due dates, etc., and even link some of these issues and risks to items within those project plans. So this is a related item. It's actually a task within the schedule where we said we've got unable to get enough infrastructure time to finish this plan on time. So we've got this linked through and visibility for that linkage right within the Project Online and Project Center. We'll see those activities all linked together. So these project sites, again, based on SharePoint, there's still a security model in place. If a user's a resource on the project team, they'll automatically get contributor access to this site. They'll be able to navigate through the Project Center, see their project plans, only the ones that they've been assigned to, but also to navigate easily through to these SharePoint sites so that they can collaborate with other team members. They've got a place here to post documents, and they can track those issues and manage those risks throughout the life cycle. So we've talked quite a bit about projects so far. Let's talk about resources within the environment as well. So we're all interested in resource management and where our resources are, what they're working on, how busy they are, etc. So just like the Project Center, this resource center is available, again, within the confines of that security model, so that only individuals with the rights to see the resource center will have access here, and then they'll only see the resources to which they've been assigned rights to manage or to view. Within this resource center, just like with projects, we've classified the resources with specific attributes. So here we're seeing our resource names and the resources rather grouped together by a position role attribute. So we've identified what position they fill, what skills they have, what department they work for, etc. All of that information, again, available within multiple views in this resource center. So we've got resources by role, material resources, resources by department, etc. And we can, again, provide access to those different views based on what your security model is and who you are within the organization. So if I select this team of resources and want to know, for example, where they are working, I can very easily see that now because our projects and all of our resources assignments are being maintained in the Project Online database. So I can see that for this team of resources, if I focus in on this one specific resource, Amy Alberts, I see the different projects that she's assigned to, and then I can see her task assignments within those projects, including information about percent complete, when those tasks are to be delivered, etc. So a full consolidated view about those resources and their task assignments across projects. There's also capacity planning views that help us understand as well what the workload on these various resources is. So here, our capacity and engagements heat map very quickly draws your attention to resources who are underallocated, shown in blue. So Daniel Williams, as we see him here within this particular time frame, he has very light workload assignments at close to 20% over this period of time, and then next to nothing through the periods of August, September, and October, whereas Amy is well overallocated, and we've got some over-under values that we're able to change on the fly to change the coloring and view over-under based on what your requirements are when you're examining workload and thresholds for those different resources that are of interest to you. We also have different views within the resource center, show information about resource utilization for this team. And we can see that between May and October, we're heavily loaded at the start of the year. And then later on, we've got lighter workload allocation and effectively excess capacity within that period. So we can take on more work later on in the year, but not during this initial period here of May and June, where we're showing a significant workload. And full details of that down in the lower part of the screen, where we see availability and capacity information, as well as the information across the different projects and where they've been assigned. So better understanding is available to us through this, including resource utilization by project, etc. So let's back up and go take a quick look at that process of ideation and then portfolio decision making. So as you'll recall, during the presentation, we talked about that process of submitting new ideas or demand for work, and then going through a strategy process where we make some decisions around which of those proposals should proceed, which ones should become projects versus which ones might be canceled because of insufficient resources, insufficient funding for those projects. So one sample approach for this is a project requests interface. You can deliver this with Project Online, where you can drop in new ideas and requests for projects into this type of interface. In they come, and the PMO or someone who's managing this intake process might have visibility to all of these, whereas again, that security model can permit you to restrict visibility to team members or submitters to only their projects, and other reviewers will only see things once they've made it through that initial request state of a new request. So the PMO might have an initial vetting process, and then we might see them in review, and later on we'll see the requests that have been approved. So we can gather information about these project submissions that's going to help us prioritize them and make some decisions. So in this type of interface, we can, for example, gather information about the request prioritization. We already know its title and its details. We know who's requesting it. But down here, we see, for example, some estimates of whether or not it's going to have a high, medium, or low impact on our strategic alignment, what the risk assessment for delivering this project is, what the estimated benefits and costs are as well. And with all of that information in hand, back in that project requests page, we're able to see that we've derived a prioritization score for some of those projects. And this particular project, this new customer support portal, can transition into an approved project. From that point, we'll have visibility into that project in the project center and be able to start to manage the ongoing life cycle of that project. So to transition that, it's as simple as checking it off once it's been approved, selecting from the ribbon menu and saying create a project, and the various information fields that we've completed during this request or this ideation process will get transferred over into and become part of that project as we have visibility into it in this project center. So those ideas and requests that we're seeing, I want to give you the first glimpse into reporting capabilities within this tool. We saw great KPI screens within the project center. We saw resource capacity views within the resource center. And as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we also have great reporting capabilities with Power BI built right into the solution. So here's my Power BI home favorites page. And those project requests that we were looking at in that Ideation app a moment ago are visible within a report that we built for our demonstration environment and part of our 1 PPM solution by Microsoft. We see these 1 PPM project requests that are available here, including requests by priority, alignment, and project type. And this type of dashboard is interactive and available to users who want to quickly go in and examine the state of that request funnel. So I can look at my security requests. I can control click on cloud computing because maybe those are two areas of interest for me. And then I can filter that to only show critical requests. So right now I see the critical cloud computing and security project requests that have been submitted within this tool. We can also view costs versus benefits by type of project to make sure we're focused on the right projects in terms of benefits and projects that have a reasonable cost compared to their benefit score against other types of submissions, be it security, cloud computing, application development, etc. So rich and comprehensive reporting capability from early in the life cycle of a submission of a project idea within this project requests interface is capability within the tool. This prioritization score that we're seeing to help us assess the most important projects, this is something that we've built into this whole project requests application interface. And when you're ready to adapt it, or adopt it rather, Microsoft Project Online also has a comprehensive portfolio analysis capability as well. And in this case, we've gone through and built out several 2018 portfolio analysis together with different budget scenarios. I could go through very quickly and say, I want to take a look at our baseline constraint analysis, where here we've selected 100% of the projects within this portfolio. All of them made the cut, all 29 projects, because we have not constrained our budget yet. So we have $25 million worth of project requests. And if we come along and say, well, no, we don't have $25 million, we only have a $10 million budget, the tool is able to quickly filter out and move out some of these projects to make room within that portfolio for that $10 million cost constraint and cap that at 9.8 million, but still select a high value portfolio for us. So with only about 2/5 of the original budget requirements, we're still able to see 90% portfolio priority through this what if analysis. So what if we only had 5 million? Same sort of scenario. It'd move some more projects out, still meet that cap for us. We can carry on with additional budget scenarios, including maybe a $3 million budget with some projects that are forced in because someone has said, we're just going to deliver that one no matter what. And then the last thing I'll show in the portfolio analysis part here is the ability for us to compare selected portfolios. So we can go through and examine the different scenarios that we considered and see the strategic value, total benefits and costs across those different scenarios and the impact of selecting a lower budget scenario versus a higher budget scenario. So I like to call this the conversation chart, if you would, where you can examine what's going to happen with different budget capabilities and which projects will make the cut, which ones won't. So back at the home page of Project Online, when we're in flight now that we've submitted some ideas, gone through a portfolio analysis, made some decisions, and now we're delivering those projects, your resources within the solution will now start working on those task assignments and be able to submit updates to their project managers. So no more Friday morning meetings where we all get together and we report on the activities that we've done that week. And then the project manager goes away and statuses the project plan. We can submit those updates right directly within this interface. So as a resource working on a team, I want to know where I'm focused and which projects I'm working on. I can very quickly look through this planning window of my task assignments and I see what's in progress for this current period. I've got different task assignments. This resource is very busy in this demonstration environment. We see here he's assigned to this project and assigned to this project. So we've got all of those task assignments and all of the work for that particular resource built out within this view. If you want to see a timesheet view instead, where a resource can go in and not just view their work assignments, but provide that progress update to the project manager. In this view, we see that we've got a timesheet built out where we're able to capture everything that that resource does during the week, including project and non-project working time as well, such as administrative activities. So we see that we've got some admin work that happened. There was a day of vacation midway through that week. And then on these various projects down here, we see that he was working on this develop help system and he did some actual work against what was planned during that period. So again, comprehensive work and timesheeting capabilities within the solution so that your resources can navigate through, find out where they're assigned and what work they should be doing on, and report on that status back to the project manager. In the last part of the demo, just to wrap up in the demonstration, I'll show you what the capabilities of the tool are with regards to Power BI. So we looked at that project requests report earlier, and you'll see that we've built out several other reports within this tool, including the dashboard that's provided by Microsoft out of the box with Project Online. So we see here the Project Online content pack, this Power BI report, showing a portfolio overview, resource assignments, essentially reporting against all of the out-of-the-box attributes and objects within the solution, including risks, issues, resources, etc. We can click through any of those dashboard tiles and go and look at a comprehensive drillable report. So we see here projects by governance phase, the different agile projects that are underway, PMBOK projects, enterprise projects, so very interactive type reporting that rolls up all of the information from Project Online in these dashboards, including projects, portfolios, programs, and then of course the issues and risks across those various projects, and including resource availability as well. So very comprehensive reporting available with Power BI, again within this one-stop interface with Project Online. So with that, I just want to wrap up that demonstration and talk about some next steps, a bit of a summary and next steps for you as potential candidates to use Project Online. So as we've discussed today, we've got many outcomes that you're going to get from a Project Online and a digital project and portfolio management solution, including a common intake and approval process, the ability to optimize your portfolio with those highest value projects, centralized visibility and reporting, less manual effort and more automation amongst your teams. Those timesheet submissions or those task status submissions are invaluable to individuals within the organization. So as you go to deploy this solution, I want to caution you that one size does not fit all. So almost every single Project Online implementation will be different. There's different requirements, different business needs, different workflows, templates, different security roles, etc. But we have some implementation processes and practices that we can help you with as you think about deployment and moving to Project Online. So our basic implementation includes some admin training, project training, and some bronze support for you. Our Kickstart implementation has a more built-to-order type of approach with enhanced training and enhanced post-launch support, so more of a configured and customized solution for you. And if you're a larger organization, you want to select implementation, we can help you there as well. Go through with requirements and user story development, build out some custom training for you as well. All of this is built upon our 1 PPM Project Online pre-configured environment. So 1 PPM takes our best practices from years of doing Project Online deployments and rolls this into a packaged solution that we deploy as a starting point for you called 1 PPM, with all of the different views, custom fields, KPI indicators, and reports that you'll need to get started quickly, not within months and months, but rather within weeks to get this up and running and deployed very rapidly for your organization. And then on top of that, we can build some of those Kickstart or select customization services depending on your needs. So we're here to help Microsoft with this seemingly strange name, a lot like Microsoft, was a joint venture started by Microsoft in 2002. We have a global footprint with about 6,500 global employees, but a key focus within our North American practice on project and portfolio management. We're a gold certified partner of Microsoft's. We belong to and advise Microsoft about project as part of their partner advisory council, and many of us are Microsoft partner sellers as well. So we have access to Microsoft directly to get your needs into them, make sure that they understand what our customers are looking for in the solution and in the future versions. We focus across the entire Office 365 suite, so it's not just PPM, but if it's Visual Studio tools that you need deployed, SharePoint, Dynamics 365, field and service management, or professional services automation. And if you need staffing services, we're there to help as well. And finally, as next steps for you as we wrap up today's webinar, we can offer you a free assessment and roadmap. And if you'd like to trial Project Online, please reach out to us. We can offer a personalized one-on-one demo for your organization. You can get to us by that email address, nasales@microsoft.com. And if you're interested in seeing other webinars, look us up at microsoft.com/webinars. So thanks for your time and attention today, and I hope to hear from you soon. I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and please look for the slides and a recording of that. Mike will follow up with all of the attendees today to make sure you have all of that information. Thank you.